welcome back. Legends and Dragons podcast, episode 22, here from the Legends Lair here in Hurst, Texas. I'm on Chance Burelson.
Jimmy Klaus.
Chance, who do we have here today?
We have mi hermano, Luke Killen. What is your middle name, Luke?
Richard.
Richard Killen.
We have my brother Dick here, and I'm very happy to have him here. Jimmy, why don't you begin the interrogation?
I will, but I want to ask you boys a question.
Okay.
You boys been watching the Olympics. Did you guys watch the Olympics? Maybe a little bit?
The Olympics going on right now?
No, I think it's over.
It's over.
It's over,
now.
I think.
Was it this year?
I just want you guys to know, and I don't mean to sound arrogant when I say this. Maybe you should put your foot up there. That's your hurt foot. But I don't want to sound arrogant, but I really think that I could have competed in this year's Olympics under breakdancing. Yep. I could have easily, probably top 3.
Did I ever tell you that I met Turbo and Ozone from Breakin' and Breakin' 2, the Electric Boogaloo?
No.
When I was a kid, of course, came out in the 80s.
Okay.
Right? And
these are movies.
Yeah, they're movies. They're breakdancing movies, okay. Right? And I was at a karate tournament in Irving. I was like 10 or 11 years old, and there was a bomb threat at that hotel. And so everybody from the hotel came out, including the karate tournament that was going on. And there was Turbo and Ozone. Apparently they had been in town doing some show, and they were at that hotel. And they're standing out in the parking lot. And it's funny because it's like when you watch movies, you don't realize how tall people are.
Yeah.
Because they change it up. So Turbo was the tall one, and he was 11 feet tall.
11 feet, got it.
And Ozone was 6 inches tall. One of them could have fit in the other one's front pocket. And those movies had just come out, and they were standing there in the parking lot.
Did they have like a piece of cardboard they just whipped out of their trunk and then?
No, but I do remember Ozone still had like eye boogers in his eyes because he was very sleek.
Kind of like how the 3 of us are right
Yep.
now. Mm-hmm. My goodness. But I'm just saying the internet with Ray Gunn.
Oh yeah.
The Australian breakdancing lady.
Is that the one that the meme is every? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm here for all that because she single-handedly. She got the Olympics to pull breaking out for the 2020. I mean, I don't know if she did, but.
So from the way that I understand it is she's got like a PhD in breakdancing, or she teaches breakdancing like lifestyle or whatever.
It's cultural, whatever.
Yeah, but she pushed herself up as the head of the breakdancing commission, which is something required that you do to submit to the Olympics.
I respect all of
and
this.
Just kept finagling it to get herself into it, and then goes up and scores zeros across the board. Yeah. Didn't get any points.
Yeah.
And if you watched the other Australian guy that was breakdancing, he was on the biggest struggle bus ever to try to make up for that part of it.
I didn't watch any of that, but
absolutely fantastic.
See, did I ever tell you boys about my history class at TCU when I was in my 30s? I had a GI Bill, some of the GI Bill.
You never told us this story. That story would have made the cut.
Maybe you, but I don't know about Lou. I may have told you, but I took history classes. And so in order to get the full benefit of the GI Bill, I had to take another history class. So I took the history of dance. So of course I had to do a dance as well. And so that's why I try to do interpretive dances as often as I can. But in this class, I'm 30, I don't know, mid-30s at the time, maybe early 30s. But I'm surrounded. It had a stadium sort of seating. And so it'd be like us, or our first project, it'd be like, okay, hey, you guys, this is your project for the first group. Well, I'm 18, 19-year-old kids. So I just listen, I have no time for you to wait on you guys. I will do the entire project. Just send me your sources. That's all. I'll do it. I got no time. They're like, okay. So the next project, I'm in there with a basketball player from TCU, then 4 or 5 TCU Showgirls. All of a sudden, my next group, I have 4 or 5 TCU Showgirls. Like, hey, that old man over there is doing the entire project. Well, let's go into group with him. So I get these TCU Showgirls, and they're like, hey, do you want to come by the dorm and do the project? I'm like, no. They were like, can we get your number? I'm like, no. They're like, well, where do you want to meet? I'm like, well, we can go to the TCU library and I'll give you my email, the TCU email address, the school email address. But of course, I go home and I tell Miriam, I'm like, I just want you to know. Those girls, they wanted me. And without skipping the beat, she goes, they can have you. I was like, oh my. I was like, come on. But what is that? Anyway, so history day. And I think that this Olympics with Reagan or whatever her name is, I've always wanted to see regular people compete.
Now you have.
That we have. Now we zeros across the board. Yeah. Ray Gun, if you're watching this, way to represent Australia. But anyway, I hope you are watching this. All right, Luke, so let's get to you. So you are the head instructor,
Yes.
J. Pat Burleson,
Yes.
5th degree.
Yes, sir.
So Master Luke Killen.
Yes, Master Luke.
Master Luke Killen. So I get asked this question a lot by parents from Excel or even at tournaments. They're like, wait a minute, Chance and Luke are brothers, but Chance has Legends and Luke Killen has J. Pat Burleson school. So I'm always trying to explain to the parents.
So now we get it straight.
So now let's get it. So
Yeah.
first, brothers, right? Obviously,
yes.
So how many siblings do you have? Or do you? Okay, let's just go from the beginning, man.
So blended, we have 7. There's 7 of us.
Okay.
So I have 2 brothers, Matt and Chad, and then Chance has got
3 siblings. I have a brother and 2 sisters.
right, and so together we're like there's 7.
The Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the Brady Bunch. Yeah,
There's a little more punching,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And do you have the best hair of all this?
Yeah, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm going to rank. So let's rank. Chance right now. We're going to rank. Okay. So of all the guests that we've had on the podcast so far.
Luke has the best hair.
So you think Luke, Bulger, or Philip?
Before or after the haircut?
Philip before the haircuts.
Before the haircut, he was in line with Bulger and Killen.
So, okay. So would you go Luke, Bulger, Philip, or would you go Philip, Bulger, Luke? Like,
I would go Luke first.
I would go probably
And then
Luke.
I think we should make Philip and Richard fight for the second.
You know, I
place.
didn't with you because you're locks right now. I mean, we talked about another podcast how I wish I had a fro so I can just. I wish I had some hair.
Yeah, his hair is so pretty it makes me want to punch a kitten.
A punch a kid. Okay, all right, that's fair enough. All right, so 7 siblings. All right, so when did you start martial arts?
I started when I was, I think it was 4 or 5. So I lived in Weatherford, and we started with a guy named Bob Nuttall out there, who was one of Grandmaster Burleson's black belts from the 70s.
One of his kind of trio or quad in the 70s and 80s. So it was Richard Morris, Bob Nuttall, Thane McVeigh. Those 3 were the kind of the 3 musketeers of being under Dad.
Right. So I trained there and with him until I was 11 or so, and I took a little bit of a break. And the middle of all that is when Mom met Pat, I believe at a seminar at Nuttall's place.
Yeah.
And then she started training with him, and
There we go.
time went on, and then we became brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I didn't meet Chance till I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
At that Richard school in the Ridgemore Mall.
Yes.
That's where I met you and your mom. Yeah.
Right.
And I was, I don't know, 23, something like that.
So your dad married
His mom.
his mom.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I see the question behind your eyes.
So
And
yes,
no.
yeah.
I'll feed you, baby.
Please
All right.
feed me.
All right.
Because we talked about DNA, by the way.
Dad's,
We talked about DNA last
yeah, that he's. We're not going to find it here. So, dad, wife number 1,
Okay.
my brother Terry and Sheila. Dad, wife number 2, me and my sister Tasha.
Okay.
Dad, wife number 3, Luke, Matt, and Chad. So, my other 3 siblings, we are either full blood related or half siblings. And Luke and Matt and Chad, there's actually no blood relation, but I have this, and I'll just go ahead and tell everybody here. During the last, 20 years of my dad's life,
Yeah.
Luke, Matt, and Chad and it's not that my other siblings weren't present. They were. Terry was around. You know what I mean? It's not, I'm not suggesting or inferring that they were uninvolved.
Right.
But when it came to rushing to the hospital, out of all of the 20 times that we were told to go up and say our goodbyes because he was going to die any moment now, which happened for 20 years.
Yes.
20 years.
For 20 years, guys, get up here. This is the end. This is the end. And we're, running people off the road to the hospital. It was truly the boy who cried wolf with dad's dying.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
did you guys eventually become numb to that, like the call?
we did get a little desensitized there towards the end. We're like, okay, really? Okay, really? Is he gonna really this time?
Tell me the symptoms here.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah. What's his blood pressure? So,
okay.
but Luke, Matt, and Chad specifically because Matt was in Florida for some of that. But really, Luke and Chad were right there in the mix during the very end. And over that 20 years, those three became my brothers every bit as much as my other siblings.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because those were the hardest years to be Pat's kid.
Yeah.
I would say. Emotionally, it was real tough. It was real tough to kind of square with this, oh my gosh, are we really losing him? Are we really losing him? That was a pretty emotionally painful time. And they were in the trenches with us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So over that 20 years, they're brothers. Awesome. Every bit as much of my siblings as the ones that I grew up with.
So the school JPAT Burelson,
Right.
obviously was for Master Burelson. But
So tell him the story because that started with Bart.
It did start with Bart. So Bart Brooks was one of several of them that started the Christian Soldier stuff with Mom and everybody. And he wanted to, since the day he walked on the mat, he wanted to start his own school. So he had asked Dad if he could start a school with his name on the building. But part of him allowing him to do that was that myself or Mom had to be involved. Otherwise, he wasn't going to let him do that. Okay. That's his name. So I came on as an instructor there, and then
how old were you? Yeah.
22.
Okay.
So, and then just real quickly after that, Bart got real involved with the Krav Maga stuff and moved to Austin, and then I took the school over.
Okay.
And I've just proudly been operating that under that name since then.
Yeah, since then. Okay. And so what was it you said? Christian
Soldiers?
Yeah. What is that?
So it's like a paraministry karate class that Mom and several others teach in different churches. So they take the karate program in there as a way to, for relatively low cost or no cost.
Almost no cost, yeah.
Give people reason to go into it.
Yeah, it's a ministry.
And they get exposed to the rest of it.
So you've been doing that since at the very beginning, the school opening. That's what you guys have been.
Yeah, well, the Christian Soldiers part of it was a separate but very closely bound entity. So they're not the same thing.
Okay,
but they're
but the martial arts is like, for instance, Annie can run a Christian Soldier's black belt test, and you can run a black belt test, and the two of them can kind of test together. In other words, the curriculum is pretty similar, isn't it?
It's extremely similar. The only thing that we do really differently is we have a couple more classes, and the way that we do self-defense is different than
sure. But it's similar enough y'all could run it together.
Right. We do run it.
Yes, yeah.
Black belt test simultaneously.
I've seen one of them, and that was Annie related to you guys.
Yeah, Annie's my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your mom? Yeah, dude, she does not look that old.
No, she's 64 years old.
I would have lost that bet right now.
Yeah.
I would have been a horrible car.
We're going to have her on this podcast too.
Oh, man, that's going to be so awesome. And I want to tell her that too. I'm like, if she's listening now, I have no idea. He's like, nobody's listening. Like, no. Let me tell you, I'm surprised, man. I really am surprised. This is episode 22, and I get people all the time to listen. I don't know why. What's wrong with you guys to listen to us? You guys not find another podcast to listen?
Right. You ought to get out more.
All right. So, what kind of style do you teach?
So it's always been under the umbrella of American karate. So the katas are all based in Taekwondo, but everything else is sort of a mashup
It's
of all kinds of things.
Mixed
But it's kind of funny when people call and they're like, do you do jujitsu? And I'm like, little pieces, but
Yeah.
not a whole curriculum for it,
Right.
or kickboxing or whatever else. So, and that was kind of the beauty of it, was what it was explained to me was that when Pat said that he did his karate as American karate, was him taking all the things that worked the best from everything that he'd been exposed to, which is just vast in the martial arts world, and sort of brought it together. Okay. And the idea was never that it would become one set thing.
Right.
It was always supposed to be something that was bringing in and then dismissing whatever the best was.
And we've always been much better at bringing in than we have been at dismissing.
100%.
I call when we switched to the rotating curriculum and we kind of did 52 card pickup with our curriculum.
Yeah.
I had this moment of clarity like an alcoholic has.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Oh, what have I done with my life?" You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh my God, I'm a curriculum hoarder." I'm a curriculum hoarder.
Yeah.
I keep doing things just because that's what I've always done.
Right.
But then I see this thing and I go, "Ooh, we should do that."
Right.
And then I realized that I had a curriculum that was untenable.
Yeah.
It wasn't learnable because I was not actually, it's like I was clogging the artery. I was bringing new stuff in, but I wasn't discarding anything. So hard to do.
Right.
Right.
It's like going to a restaurant and they have a menu that's 17 pages
Right.
long and they do everything from pizza to sushi. And
Right.
you're like, I don't know what to do with any of this.
I'll
Way
have
too
more.
much.
Yeah.
Do you have breadsticks? Breadsticks.
So have you changed your curriculum over time?
Of course.
Yeah.
Especially in the way that we do self-defense. It's way more fluid
Okay.
and less rigid now.
Yeah.
And it's because it's necessary. If you have this idea that the only way to block this certain thing or react to whatever aggression comes towards you, and it doesn't work perfect, then worry.
Right.
You know, you're stuck in the car.
Because it's not going to work perfect at
No,
all.
it won't. And that was one of the things with the Krav Maga guys with Bart. There was, I believe it was Avi. We're at the house one day talking, and I asked him, because the Krav Maga guys are collecting them for their self-defense. So I was like, what's the most important thing to do when you consider training in self-defense? And he said, make it different. You know, don't attack the same way. You know, change it up just a little bit so that people don't get so used to that rigid, like, grab my wrist, please. Sure.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And that's another thing that we just don't do anymore. It's like, don't offer them your wrist or your neck. It makes zero sense.
Right.
You know, if you can stop them on the way in, good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and then my personal philosophy on self-defense is that, you know, we end up focusing so much on the after I've been attacked, here's how I respond.
Rather than the prevention.
The thing about self-defense is if we've gotten to that point, we have made so many mistakes
Yeah, right.
to get here, where somebody's close enough or
Right.
has hands
Right,
on
right,
you, and you're
right,
like,
right.
well, now I get to do the cool fun part that we all
Right.
like to think about.
Right.
Right.
What I failed to do was when I woke up this morning and considered my day, thought, where am I going? Who am I going to be around? And what kind of situation do I want to avoid or expose myself to?
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in classes talking about just the necessity to think that through. Like, if you know that you're going to be going to a party later,
Yeah.
do you know the people that you're with? Do you have a friend that's going with you?
Right.
What kind of clothes are you going to wear?
Right.
You know, if you're going to go in and wear, you know, those silly shoes that you can't move in, but they look good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you're setting yourself up not to be able to defend yourself.
That's beautiful.
Or anything, you know, going and hang out with those friends that you know are always riding that line.
And they get in trouble.
Right, they're just right there, and you're like, you know, it'd be more intelligent for me not to go hang out with these people.
Yeah.
I have to dismiss or get rid of or what's the word for it? I have to sort of sacrifice the fun that is possible.
Yeah.
But
for the
at least now I don't have to deal with that risk.
Yeah.
So making the decision not to go hang out with the friends that always get in fights,
Right.
it's far more effective than learning how to block a punch.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? It's like in Kali. I was talking to you. So one of the problems with Kali is the percussive sound of the stick hitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Luke swings a stick at me, I am pulled by this desire to interact with the stick to block because I like the sound it makes. When really the smartest thing would be for me to step back as he swings and let him miss. And so what he's talking about, even in a fight,
Yeah.
it makes more sense to make them miss at first and to get out of range. His situation, or the scenario that he was describing, that's like making them miss with the first punch by not being at the coordinates where they're throwing the punch.
Right.
Which is far more effective. And this is what people in martial arts don't talk about enough. And I think we do a real disservice to the people we teach. Self-defense really should be about avoidance.
Right.
And no matter how good of a fighter you are,
Yeah.
the second hands are thrown, your survivability drops way low.
Right.
No matter how good of a fighter you are, if you're in a fight, your odds aren't great.
Yeah.
No.
Even if you're a good fighter,
Yeah.
your odds are not great because a blade can come out, a gun can come out, a friend can come out of nowhere when you're not looking. Like, it doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are. If you're fighting, you need to understand how absolutely lethal, especially in this day and time,
Yeah.
even getting into a fight is.
Right.
Right.
And the thing is, I think a lot of people are not interested in self-defense. I don't think they're honest with themselves.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say they want to be good at self-defense when really what they want to be good at is beating people up. And
Yeah.
those are not the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. And something that you said, Luke, about, hey, think about what you're wearing,
Mm-hmm.
think about something. Like, I don't even wear necklaces unless I know. I mean, obviously, I guess you guys can jump me right now if you guys get real angry, pull my necklace or anything. I try not to wear.
I'm going to do it before this podcast.
I'm trying to say I know. You guys are such bullies. And I tell you what. So, but that makes sense because Talon had a incident in school a couple years ago against a bigger kid who pushed him, and so Talon was trying to avoid. They were someplace playing laser tag, and so Talon got pushed again. But this time, Talon got up, and the kid and just squared up and just hit him dead in the gut. The kid doubled over, and started calling Talon, "You're a midget! You're a midget!" I was like, "Oh, you got him!" And so, of course, we tell Valdez, by KMA, just let you know, Talon got into this incident, of course. And so he took Talon aside. When we were sparring, he goes, "Okay, we're going to teach you to avoid." He goes, "Okay, so you protected yourself, cool. But you also protect yourself against someone you knew that you could easily take." He goes, "Now, I'm going to target you up with so-and-so, who is probably an intermediate at this time." Talon was getting close. He was a red belt. He goes, "Now, he's going to swing. He's going to come at you. You just move. Just make him look foolish and tap that you did, man." And that's what, now I have to try to get him out of that mindset. Like, okay, you're not helping yourself or your partner by making him look foolish. Like, get in there and do a little fighting. But anyway, that's a good thing. So have you ever considered UFC yourself?
What, for me?
To fight in the UFC, or have you done any? Because we talked about him fighting in the cage.
I remember the gloves from that. If you guys can find a picture of that, they're this big.
It's up there.
And
on
they're
the wall.
fantastic.
You can see Dad wiping the blood off my face
Yeah.
from my compound nose fracture.
Have you fought in any thing like that?
No.
Not
I've
saying
done like
Not a thing.
that's different.
Yeah, that's all we're asking. We're not asking about
No, my pursuit with like competitive stuff is like I've done, dozens of tournaments and things, so like just point fighting and what have you. I never saw the benefit in risking my health fighting like that.
So you're saying you're the smarter brother? Is that what you're saying?
He's definitely.
No, the smarter one.
Matt was pretty smart.
Sure. Matt made good decisions as often as I made bad ones. So,
Okay.
I think, everybody can be credited to doing.
Well, I was just
smart,
talking.
but-
I reference everything against the bear suit.
Go on.
No, we're not going to tell it. We can't tell that story.
no.
okay.
You have to have Chad for that story,
I know.
and that is, he can share it.
All right.
If he
All right. So we
chooses
got to get Chad on so I can hear this bear story. Okay.
So when I say Matt was smart, what I mean is Matt didn't have a bear suit.
No. Matt had Matt would, I don't know. He went to the Navy real quick out of high school.
Yeah.
And in high school, he just sort of worked.
Yeah.
You know.
So, of all the siblings, are they in martial arts as well?
All of them.
Yes. Matt still trains when he comes to town.
Yeah.
But Chad teaches a Christian soldiers class. I think he's like 60 students or something.
Yeah.
In Burleson. So, or whatever, somewhere south. But, you know, we stayed pretty active with it. The mom was...
Chad's great black belt too.
Excellent. And he's doing that, and he does jiu-jitsu with Chad.
Yeah, he does Jeff Owen. Yeah, he's one of Travis Lear's black belts. Chad does jiu-jitsu with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't obviously considered jumping into ring UFC?
No, thought about it. Everybody asks me that, but I've never... my height to weight ratio would put me in a terrible spot anyway. I'm like 215 pounds at 5'5". Like I would have the worst reach disadvantage ever. But
I have fought you, man. You're fighting this out, dude. I'm telling you, you are a beast at it. But anyway, so all that to say, but you have trained individuals that have
got into MMA, right?
I've worked with a couple of guys. A lot of amateur. A couple of amateur guys, and then I worked with one guy who was active in the UFC for a while. But James Vick, he's a great fighter.
Yep.
You know, he's 6'4", I think.
Okay.
And fought like 145. So he would cut like crazy to get down to that weight. But he was a good fighter. He got some really hard shots on him and dropped out of the UFC. And then I think the last thing I saw him with was he was on quite a combat. He caught a really bad knockout kick. Yeah. The switch kick up to the head and just he had his guard too far back and put him right.
Oh man.
He was a good guy. It's fun. I like training people. Like I really there's a whole lot of fun that comes from getting people from different backgrounds and seeing what they bring to it.
Yeah.
You know, so like the MMA guys, they're, you know, where they trade off for like traditional technical skill. So like every one of them throw round kicks with the inside of their foot, right? Not the best, but it's still strong enough to knock somebody out. But they're fun. Yeah. Because you can drill those people like they just don't get tired. Or if you've ever had Marines, they're my favorite just because they don't know what backup means. Right. Or stop. I love that, you know, and to take somebody that's got whatever they bring to the table and just see how you can mold it into something a little more disciplined and more useful.
Who was the kid that I fought? So we made it one of the tournaments, which was crazy to me to do a jiu-jitsu tournament. They break you in like actual age, like, oh, you go 40 to 45. Whereas as opposed to our tournaments, you're like, hey, class,
35 and up.
Yeah. Like 18. Like, oh, you're fighting the adults. Like, oh, and the adults, 18 plus. I'm like, man, these fast kids. But anyway, so I made it against one of Luke's students. So one, he hooray me. So now we're fighting for first to the championship round. And now I'm up on them like 3-0. Then of course here comes Luke. Now he's coaching his team. Like, okay, of course I lose. I lose like probably 12-3 or something like that. But what's his name? Is it Hunter?
Hunter Fink, yeah.
Hunter Fink?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fought, right? I mean, I try to follow.
He's come over here in Spartan Fleet.
Yeah, I sent him over here because that's the main reason because he comes to my gym some when, especially if he's getting ready for one of his MMA fights or something, just to clean his technique up a little bit. But he really goes over to the MMA gyms a lot because you can get in there and bang with those guys a little harder, which is what he needs. So we don't fight nearly that hard.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to develop skill when you have a broken rib. You know.
Well, you can't develop skill if you're always out from injuries.
Right. So, yeah, but Hunter's a good kid. He's kind of when he was like 10 or 11 or something, and then just on and off has been at the school. But he did play wrestling in high school and stuff. But he's really fun. He's very trainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because after he started listening to you, I was like, Luke, man, come on, man. Give this old man a shot. It was, listen, I mean, everything Luke said, man, he was nailing me.
I just once want to coach somebody, and I would probably do it with you because I think you would appreciate the humor.
Okay.
This.
Yeah.
But like in that exact scenario where Luke was over there coaching Hunter, and then Hunter started doing a whole lot better, and then I circle around to your side, and then I was like, all right, break.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to lose, man. I just want you to try to do it with your style. At this point, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can do. Maybe try to give him a hug.
Yeah.
Wrap them up. Yeah.
I think you're the only person I could do that to in a tournament.
Yeah, I'll be like, you want me to play dead? Okay, got
I
it.
want you to learn to lose gracefully.
Yeah.
Oh, I have learned to lose gracefully, very gracefully.
Just walk out there and go, Elizabeth is a big one.
Just faint a heart attack.
Just
We have to stop this match, and I guess I don't know how to do this. So like, go over there, have some water.
Bang! All right, I'm one up.
They come check on you.
And, man. Yeah, you know, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Anyway, you're a great coach, man, and I know that Hunter kid was phenomenal.
Appreciate it. He's a good kid. He trains hard. He works hard.
Yeah. So what's the best part? So you took over at 22, right? You took over J-Pad Burelson at 22, you said?
That, but sort of. I was teaching most of the classes when I was that age, and then when I was 26, 27, when we took over the school completely.
Okay.
So
Did you know that was your path? Is that what you wanted to do you think?
I do a lot of side stuff.
Yeah.
Like I always like to get my hands in something else and just learn a new skill somewhere else. But there's never been a time in my life that I can remember that I didn't want to or feel the need to be on the mat somewhere.
Okay.
You know, and typically as an instructor, which I probably spend too much time doing that, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't spend nearly enough time training. I had started to do some more things, and my neck is all messed up right now, so I've got to take a break from it. But the coming up when I was a kid, the place that I've just on the mat was where I went instead of going and doing the other things. You know, it was a place that I could go, and I knew that I was going to get all the extra energy that, you know, teenage boys have out.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't have that to carry home to be, you know, extra aggressive or whatever else it was. Although my brothers will teach them super aggressive, but you know, it's where I went when everybody else was out getting in trouble and doing things they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I was on the mat, and then I worked essentially full time in high school and trained. I went over to classes with you and with Mom and with Pat, and then just stayed really busy with that. And occasionally, you know, Pat would pick me up on a Saturday and drive somewhere, and your stuff is in the back. You're competing today.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. With who?
Right.
You know, and then you get to go to a tournament. Yeah, cool, fun stuff. And so just being on the mat, there's never really been an option for that for me. I don't feel right when I go on vacations and I'm gone for 2 weeks. I don't. It's the worst.
Yeah.
You know,
And I look forward to it.
I love going places and doing things, but I'm like,
You just want to get on the mat.
let's get going again.
Your punch is incorrect. Sir, I wasn't punching.
Yeah. It's like, well,
I was
we
waiting
should
my
have
hand
been.
for a taxi, sir.
right.
I realized that we're just in line at the grocery store. You're monsters. You know, somebody's going to mug you.
Right.
So did Annie, was she involved in martial arts before meeting Master User?
Yes. Yeah. So when I was, like I said, 4 or 5, we started out there with Bob Nuttall.
Yeah.
Who was, like we were talking about, it's one of the big 3
In the Fort Worth
areas. So, great instructor, great guys. Actually, was my godfather as a kid. Like, you know, so it was, we were close with him. And Mom started maybe a year or 2 after my brothers and I did. And my dad was involved up there as well for a while. And then, and I said, I took a little bit of a break. She worked with a guy named Jess Hall, who was amazing. He was actually my first boss.
The Seasons guy.
Yeah, Serendipity.
Yeah.
Season salt.
Yeah.
So my first job was making Serendipity seasons. You ever go to Chicken Express? They give you those little salt packets?
Yeah.
That. Yeah. There is a barn outside of their house in Weatherford, just off of Greenfield Cutoff.
Okay.
And so I would go in there and there was a concrete mixer with these paddles in it. You dump all the ingredients in, and then you put it in a big cooler and scoop it out. I did that 4 hours. I constantly smelled like seasoning.
Yeah.
My geese smelled like it because I would have my gear bag with me.
It was best seasoning. It was so good.
Yeah, you could.
I bet you I would try to partner with you all the time. Like, my God, dude, you smell so good.
Yeah, gets in your hair. You know, so,
I don't have to worry about it.
but it was really good. But the so she was working with him. He was actually the well, hands down, the reason that she tested for her black belt and did as well as she had.
Yeah.
At that time. But then she did it, like I said, a seminar with Pat, and then after a while, she just started training with them at the Ridgemar Mall place with who is now Grandmaster Richard Morris, and several other guys that were over there. It was a whole lot of fun. So I spent a lot of time in the mall.
Yeah.
At that pizza place.
Just eating that for lunch and dinner.
Yeah. No, you'd have to like run past that nail salon because it was still back when they did the toxic chemicals. Pump out the palm. And go and do that. But yeah, it was just a little mat rat.
So the mat rat. I still remember you calling Journey Town my mat rat. I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
We're mat rats.
Yeah, mat rats.
Yeah. I had no idea. So what's the best part then of being a teacher that you have found? Well, first, before we did, JPAD Burelson is located where?
In Saginaw.
In Saginaw. Okay. And now, so the best part of teaching?
I enjoy watching people realize that when their confidence comes up and they realize that they don't have to fight in order to earn that confidence. I enjoy when somebody can step on the mat and they're a little shaky, and in a couple of weeks, months, years, just kind of watching the entire personality change. Especially somebody that comes in from some terrible situation or whatever they're dealing with, and learns that they don't have to necessarily, like I said, fight to be confident, but actually the fact that they don't have to even engage in that to have more confidence or be stronger than somebody who goes out chest fired. I really enjoy the part where you get to take somebody from where they are to where they can be.
Yeah.
And if not deliver them to some ultimate destination, at least get them started on the way.
Yeah.
When somebody, the moment when you see somebody proud of themselves for the first time is profound.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Yeah.
It's important not just for the kids either. It's for their parents and everybody else involved in the kid's life when they also see what can be. When you have somebody that you can teach or work with and they realize that they can be more than what they thought.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like some kind of miracle worker or anything like that, but anybody that has the opportunity to teach anybody anything can help those people to realize, like, just to build that confidence in themselves. They get to know that they are capable and they're worthy of whatever they're doing.
You guys do a great job with that. Now that I've been in jiu-jitsu now for about a year or so, you guys don't care if a kid is from a different school.
Not at all.
Like at a tournament. You guys have taken, of course, Germany and Talon and your guys' swings, and you've helped them at tournaments. Not just my kids, but other kids from
of course
as well. So that's what I appreciate about both you guys. I mean, of course, Talon loves both of you guys, Journey loves both of you guys, and you guys have helped Talon get a little bit better. It's okay, I don't mind your foot touching my knee. But they have gotten better by listening to you guys. Can you put out a listen?
So what I think is really cool is, and I know I've seen our people do this, and I've seen Luke's people do this too. So at our tournaments, what I love is when coaching stopped being illegal, because it was always a stupid thing anyway.
Yeah.
No coaching. I'm like, dude, it's not a remote control. The competitor also doesn't have to do what the coach says. Like, they're autonomous,
Yeah.
But when we're coaching one of our people, and we're coaching them, and the other competitor doesn't have a coach, one of our team will go around to the other side.
I love that so
and
much.
we got two coaches from the same school coaching two people from different schools, trying to help them, because this is something I got from the Kovars, that of course it's not that I didn't believe it before that, but it gave me a way to put a name to it. But it's the concept of a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm making competitors from another school better to compete against my people, I am still making my people better.
Yeah.
Like making everyone better makes everyone better. It's not an us against them thing. It is a construct.
Yeah.
Competition is a construct of make-believe, where it is the spiritual concept of a scrimmage. I know you're a little impressed that I know what the word scrimmage means, because I hate sports.
I know, this is very good.
But on a scrimmage, the same team is splitting and pretending to be opponents to improve each other.
Yeah.
That's what competition is.
Right.
And the people who I believe are very emotionally and mentally immature cannot escape that construct and view people from other schools as the enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
They can't get out of that. They're like, well, don't help them. They're the bad guys. They're the enemy. I'm like, you're a child.
Yeah.
They're not assaulting you on the way to the car. They're not actually the enemy. They didn't break into your house.
Right.
They're another student from another school.
Right.
They're not the bad guy. And this is one of the things that I loved about Dad, is that he trained me, and I'm assuming you and Chad as well at tournaments, not to throw hissy fits and complain and whine when the judging went poorly.
Yeah.
And like, I would get in so much trouble if I complained or whined. And he said, and I remember him telling me, it's not that you're wrong. That was a bad call. But if you needed that call to be perfect, then you were too close in skill to that other person.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have made a difference if it was a bad call. Your job's to be so much better that even with the bad calls, you still win.
I remember distinctly having that conversation where it was, you and I fight, right? I'm not real great about at reach strikes. I like to get inside.
Yes.
And so I, stop off to the side and sit there all just upset with myself because like I'm not getting these calls and damn judges are not paying attention or whatever. He's like, stop hitting them where they can't see it. And you never got more than 5 words. I didn't get more than like 5 words at a time ever.
Right.
Or it was just like, do better. And you're like,
Yes, sir.
I don't even know what that means, but okay. I'm gonna get out there and try better.
Right.
But that was essentially what it was saying. It's like, hit him in the head, dummy.
Right.
And like, oh, okay.
How dare you not see the punch that I'm throwing?
Right, this tight, short, just hook into somebody's body. And, and it made you a better competitor. And the fact that if you did throw a fit that was visible, the ride home was miserable.
Yeah, it's bad.
And why was it miserable? Not because he yelled at you, because he was dead silent.
Dead silent.
And you say something and he'd... You know exactly...
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, of course. But it was such a good training for life.
Yeah.
Because most of life is unfairly not getting your way.
Yeah.
Like that's most of adult life.
Right.
Is you don't get your way, and a lot of times you don't get your way and you should.
Yeah.
Of course you always think you should.
Right.
But to endure that with some sort of grace and class and style, and so when I remembered, when I found myself intuitively when I would compete, congratulating the person who didn't actually beat me, and he knew he didn't beat me, but me, you know what I mean? Really making a big deal about it, that showed such strength of character. People saw that. Now, here's the thing. I know you remember this, and I'm not going to mention any names, okay? But Jamie Cashin put on this thing for Dad. He put on several things for Dad, and I fought it. You fought it.
Right.
Okay? I think you and I both know that I did not lose that fight.
Right.
Everybody in the room also knew that I didn't lose that fight.
Yeah.
But they said I lost that fight.
Yeah.
And that was fine.
Right.
It was, first of all, the guy who beat me, but you didn't actually beat me. I love him.
Right.
He's a great guy. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I'm glad. Honestly, he might have needed that because I used to teach him.
Yeah.
Right.
It might have done him more good to get proclaimed as the winner than it would have done me to get. I didn't need the win
Well, right. If you're basing your self-worth on whether or not you won at a karate tournament,
publicly.
you should stop.
Right.
Yeah, you need to find something else.
Yeah. And so, but that comes from Dad's teaching.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's you and I have fought at tournaments where points are being called and we're like,
That didn't happen.
that's not what, whatever. Try it again. Let's do this one more time. I bet you can't kick me in the back of the head.
Right.
You know, that was always the most fun. It was going back to what you said about people competing in tournaments and what that means. And we don't live in Cobra Kai.
Right.
You know, I watch the show because it's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I hate the idea.
I do.
Like, I don't know how many times I've been in the middle of a situation and go like, this is a freaking episode of Cobra Kai, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's dumb.
It is dumb.
But
And that show, Luke, is so bad.
it's terrible.
And I will watch every single episode. But it's terrible.
It's really bad.
Okay, go on.
So the thing about competing, or even the kids in your class, like number one, I tell kids all the time, like don't win practice. It makes no sense.
Stop winning
Right.
practice.
So the idea that since what is the saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the whole room. So when you're the best kid on the mat, your job is to be like selfishly altruistic, right? You want to help everybody else get better than you,
So that you can get better. Right.
So when you go compete, you know, some of y'all's kids compete against each other. Some of my guys compete against you guys, and they just have always done that.
Yeah.
And it's really fun when they go to a tournament and they realize like, oh, I have to do this or that in order to get better now. So that's what I'll take back and train us. And so that makes them better. You know, getting in there and bitching and moaning because they didn't win doesn't build any kind of skill. It doesn't make you better.
It doesn't
makes
make it doesn't make this or this better.
No.
And it doesn't make this better.
In fact, what it does is when you harbor that kind of like anger or resentment toward the outcome of your competition, that does slow you down. Right? Anger is nothing but an anchor.
Right.
You know, so if you allow that to be the only reason that you compete is because you want to win every time, not because you go into it with an open, with the spirit of I'm going to learn something. Right. I love going in and watching some of these guys fight and being like, man, that was the way they put that combo together was near perfect as far as that situation was concerned. So I want to see more of that.
Right.
You know, I want to figure out how I can do it.
Right.
Or at least fake it enough to teach somebody else.
Right.
You know, and get in there and go with that. It's, you know, watching Mikey do that stinking cartwheel that time and kick the dude in the face. I was like, that was crazy. Like that, it's, you know, it's not something I'm going to try to repeat, but I'm so happy that it happened.
That I
in the
got to
moment.
see it.
Yeah. Or getting hit with something. You know, when you know that you've reached a level of maturity that is at least better than it used to be, when you can get hit, you can catch like a good solid technique and be very happy for the other person.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're standing there dizzy and like, oh, that was amazing, and you're gonna have to tell me how you did that in a minute.
I'm just happy to be a part of what just happened.
It's one of the greatest kicks that I've ever been a part of. Nick Willits was standing about 4 inches from my face and kicked me in the back of the head with a front leg hook. I nearly kissed him on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was like, how did you do that? And so we worked it.
Yeah.
You know, later in class. After the concussion went away.
Yeah, that's the concussion. So like if I'm fighting Jimmy, the way I try to teach my students is if I'm fighting Jimmy, I'm definitely trying to win.
Yeah.
But if I can't win, I totally want you to. Like you're my second choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I want you to do well. I'm still gonna try to beat you.
Right.
But if I can't win, please, you win.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of brotherhood
Yeah.
is
Absolutely.
what should be in competition.
Well, you guys, let me ask you boys this, because a few years ago, you guys came up with the idea of the bamboo league. Huh? How did that come about? Like, I don't know if we've talked about
We haven't talked about the formation.
Yeah.
And it actually happened in 19
so
before COVID, and then we didn't get to actually do it because of COVID.
Because the bamboo league, even though other schools Okay, so the Bamboo League is, of course, your guys' school, Valdez, so Excel Academy. Then you have Juvies,
Integrity, Rising Phoenix,
who?
UCAT, basically, and then Hollands.
Okay, so you guys have 6 schools.
Sure.
Sure, Bamboo League. So 2019, where did the idea come from to say, hey, these 6 schools, we want to create the Bamboo League?
So you tell the story of where that came from. I think I have a good idea of where it came from, but you tell the story.
Essentially, the thought was to just be able to create a league that didn't have so much of the kind of silliness that goes along with a lot of the other ones, the
Politics and drama.
Yep.
So, and then over time, we've just, what we wanted was to take the schools that we're already competing with anyway and give them a place to go that we could be considered a little bit like more fair and less bias, and then make sure that we were having judging and everything else that was just fair, especially as far as we're concerned.
Right.
Where I haven't been to a lot of bigger tournaments recently, but I know back in the day it was really hard if you came from a certain school to do well at certain tournaments. You walked in.
If you weren't from a popular school,
yeah,
then you weren't.
Okay.
You weren't going to do well.
But, right. The only way to do that would be to do like what Dad would tell us and just be like, you need to be better
Than everybody.
than necessary.
But you're going to have to be better than you would be to win. You're going to have to be even better than that.
Right.
Okay.
So we started the league in order to, just provide ourselves a good place to go and compete. And over time, we've had some really cool ideas as far as the way that we, do the sparring, and especially sparring.
Got it.
Taking that break in there.
That's such a cool idea. That was from Valdez, too.
Well, yeah, and it's one of my favorite parts about that is it gives you that opportunity in the middle of the battle to just take a second. And it's really cool to watch how those points will go.
Yep.
They go this way and then swings back the other way, or it goes here and then takes off.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then because we're all so familiar with each other, we can do like you were talking about. I like to, when I run the sparring rings, grab all the competitors at the end of it and be like, hey, here's something that you should work out. Right.
Yeah.
That because you're not chambering your kick, it's
easy to block.
It's faster in there, but it's super easy to block. You're basically checking your own self. Sorry.
Yeah.
This or that or the other thing, but it's just a great benefit to everybody involved when you get a group of people together like that are like like-minded.
Yeah.
So that we're not going in there and just trying to have it's not built so that one school can do better than another or anything else. We're all there so that we can compete and grow together as a community.
In the Bamboo League, we have kata, we have specialty kata, which is weapons or whatever, music too, and then sparring.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then we have, broken up by belts, right?
Age and belts, yeah.
Age and belts, except for the, older guys like me who get my butt whipped by 18 plus year kids. I say kids.
Which is my favorite thing about tournaments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Watching him get beat up.
I love you guys when I take an absolute knocker when they just hit me, and to hear you guys on the side like ooh or laugh or whatever, that makes my heart feel good. Just so you know. But so Luke, with the creation of the Bamboo League, so 2019 we had the COVID. I remember competing during COVID, but that's I had to do my kata send it in, sure, and then you guys do it. So you guys been going. Bamboo League's been going strong now for, 3 years? 3 years.
Yep.
This is the 3rd year.
Yeah. And of course, other schools, you guys don't keep it from other schools.
No.
No, it's an open fund.
Well, unless they show up and show their butts and act poorly, then we won't let them come back.
But you guys have you guys had to do that?
Yeah.
Bamboo League? Okay, you guys have to. Of course. So I will say this because I give you guys a lot of praise because you guys do a great job with the coaching and the kids. I think Talon, when you were working with Talon, created this combo because you were telling him to get on the inside. So he created this thing to where he throws a jab, but all he does now is he just drops it and then just goes up for the like he leaves it on you. Like he doesn't pull back and throw it again.
It follows
so
in.
He goes here and then he just follows him. He's almost kind of Mikey. Like Mikey was taking the bag. He's like, what in the world? He's almost caught Valdez with it. He goes, teach me that. And that's what I love about you guys. Is you guys don't go, well, man, here's this young kid that you know, maybe got like shows like, no, teach me what did you do?
Yeah.
Because you guys are open to that. So, anyways, I have a lot of love and respect for you guys doing that. So,
You've absolutely got to be able to learn from those you're teaching.
yeah,
You know, it's a missed opportunity if you're so arrogant that you don't believe that
Right.
somebody, just because they're younger or newer than you,
yeah,
don't have something to offer, especially passively.
Yep.
You know, you'll see somebody do something and they might not even be aware of it, but then you can kind of dig into it and figure out the, you know, why did that work? It was weird, it was unorthodox, but I feel like we could repeat it. So let's work at that and see what we can come up with.
So, are you into cheesy martial arts movies as well? Like, like if you had to sit down and are you into the westerns or martial arts movies or the Monty Pythons?
I will watch just about anything once and then kind of go from there. But so yeah, I just, you know, I didn't have to watch Monty Python. I could just listen to him for a few hours. But
Me or Ian.
right,
Yeah, that's true. Both of you guys.
but no, it's anything. I watch all kinds of stuff.
So you more sci-fi guy, you think?
If I read, I like to read sci-fi.
Ooh, are you a reader?
Not a big one,
Yeah.
but if I do read, you know, there's a fantasy stuff or sci-fi.
Ready Player One.
Oh, it's
Good to
good.
read that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you read that? I think we talked because you're into audiobooks.
I have a copy if you.
Huh?
So I have a copy if you want to read it while you drive.
No.
Read it while you drive, while you're pouring your milk and cereal as well.
Right.
Yeah, let's talk about driving because Boss is back there.
Yeah.
He's a horrible.
Boss is a horrible person.
He's a horrible person. Tell me about your thoughts of cruising in the left-hand lane.
No, you're the worst kind of human.
Thank you. He didn't do it until he heard Jimmy talking about it, and then he got out and did it. He's like, "I love this. This is great."
Because I
Everybody's
was,
so mad.
I was ranting.
Yeah.
About this was like the afternoon with Undo. Then we were doing that, and I got here late because horrible job. You guys are horrible drivers. Texas, every state has it, but you guys are horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, cruising in the left-hand lane was bad.
Yeah.
And so Blas, of course, he said, "Chance live video, him just cruising the left hand, just enjoying it, loving it."
Oh, we terrible people.
All right. So,
Anyways, I'm sorry, I got
Jimmy said you got to let it go. Anger is an anchor.
Yeah, there you go.
So, to wrap up,
Yeah.
Luke, is there anything that you would like to share with our studio audience to encapsulate who Lucas Richard Killen is as a person?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know how to
define yourself.
do that. Yeah, I would much, you know, as much as it is none of my business what other people think of me,
Yeah.
it's also not something I consider about myself a whole lot. You know, I like to just kind of, especially on the mat, just get out and do the very best that I can, serve everyone
Yeah.
to the best of my ability. Hope that it comes anywhere close to good. Good enough.
Yep.
Yeah, and that I hope that other people see that and follow that example.
Yeah.
You know, follow the good examples.
I certainly have. Yeah.
So J-Pat Burelson, he says Saginaw.
Yes.
Is it Monday through Saturday? When are your classes?
Monday through Thursday primarily. We do some offshoot stuff on the weekends and what have you, but for the most part, it's Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday. What kind of, so, I mean, as we're wrapping up, because I think I love you, man. I have nothing but love for you.
Me too, man.
So, even when you are kicking my tail or you're telling me to do something, I completely ignore you because I'm so exhausted and try to at least keep my hands up. I do listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What my brain says to do, my body's just not executing. So, but anyways, so what would you say to the parents? I mean, school's starting now. Of course, we're starting up. So the kids that are, you know, maybe being picked on in school, bullied on in school, you know, they come to you and they go, "Hey, I want my kid to learn to fight, to defend themselves." What would you say to that parent? Like,
Say, well, no, you don't, but let's get them in here anyway and have a conversation with a kid. All right. Most of the time, in my experience, if a kid's being bullied, it has very little to do with some bully and has everything to do with the kid's own self-confidence and self-worth and what they're able to just sort of put out in the world. You know, they walk around as a victim before anybody else ever comes into contact with them.
yeah,
So when you can take a moment and instill a little bit of confidence in somebody, when that back straightens out and that eye contact starts happening, they become less of a victim already.
Yeah.
And then through training, they learn to assert themselves a little bit. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they walk around, pointing fingers and tell everybody what's what, but they don't take that from anybody else.
Right.
And so that's the way that I kind of gear that. It's way less about like, I'm not going to teach your kid how to break somebody's nose. Hey, they're going to get in trouble for that.
Right.
But, let's talk about prevention. Let's talk about the steps that you take in order to alleviate those kinds of issues. The schools have in place different protocols that they try to do for that. So let's learn to work within that system. And then if it becomes absolutely necessary, how to defend themselves, but in the most peaceful way possible first.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how often it works that you can just put your hands up and yell at somebody and be like, stop. And it changes the dynamic there, because now it's no longer kid A harassing kid B.
Yeah.
It's now they're coming together a little bit, and the kid's like, oh, this isn't easy anymore. I'll go find the easier one.
Yeah.
And then I like to ask them to invite the bully up. If there's a kid like that, bring him into class.
Yeah.
That kid has a lack of confidence too, and that's the whole thing he's doing, is just trying to assert whatever dominance is being pushed on him. He's trying to push it off on somebody else.
Yeah.
So when you have kids that do that sort of thing, good, confident kids don't go around bullying other people.
Yeah.
Or getting bullied.
Right? They, they're the ones that'll help out and, and be the, just that helping hand for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I like to get kids in there that are also the aggressor.
Yep.
Figure out why. Like somebody is asserting some sort of something on you.
Yeah.
Some kind of, so you're just mimicking the same thing that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
I think
That's really good.
I think everybody benefits from training in martial arts. You can't have discipline if you don't have ability.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like Jordan Peterson said that. Everybody needs to be dangerous.
Dangerous, but have self-control.
And have self-control, right?
So your classes are generally Monday through Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you guys are close to Saginaw, look up JPAT Burelson Martial Arts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on down.
Thank you for coming on our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.